ever Queens of the Hardwood Draft Night Showcase. My name is Brian Skowronski. I'm going to be your host tonight as well as Thursday night for our All-Star Game event, and we cannot wait for that to all go down. Some of the top girls basketball players in Richland County and just on the outskirts of our community are all going to go head-to-head, showcase their abilities in first a three-point shootout, skills competition, and then, of course, the All-Star Game. It all goes down at Mansfield Senior High beginning right around 6 p.m. on Thursday night, and we are going to bring you all the action live and free right here on the OH Report, unless you're one of those lucky 500 people that actually get to be inside of the building after tonight's broadcast here. We are going to post the link to tickets. It's going to be first come, first serve, and if you want to be in the building on Thursday, that will be your opportunity. I can tell you two people that are definitely going to be there. How about our two stud coaches right here from the city of Mansfield? Let's meet first from Madison, entering his 10th season next year. How about Brian Davis is going to be the coach for the Queens of Hearts. So happy to have Brian here with us. And then on the other side, he's got his arch nemesis from the Mansfield TY Tigers in his second season. Jevar Hudens is going to be the coach for the Queen of Clubs. So, gentlemen, so glad that you could join me here in the studio tonight. And I think it's really cool that we have, two cross-city rivals dueling it out. And let's first talk, Brian, about your season, because a big reason why we wanted to have this game kind of coming together last minute is for teams like yours. Very little practice time, very little games. Just how cool is it for two of your girls to get an opportunity to suit up one last time at the high school level?
Sure. Well, thanks, Brian. First of all, thanks for having us. Appreciate this. Great job. Everything looks like it's coming together great. But yeah, I think we had a rough season in terms of, like we were talking earlier, we actually had more games than practices. And if you look at it over the course of a season with some younger players, it made for some long nights for us trying to get through some of these games. But really excited about this one last opportunity for some of them to get to play together, and really looking forward to it.
So, Brian, he's got a third nominee now, but two of them are going to be seniors, so they're going to get a suit up for the last time. And a little bit different story for you, Jevar. Pretty neat. You've got two babies from the TY Tigers that are going to get a chance to play.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, why did you go ahead and pick some younger girls on your team to be showcased?
Well, with Kirsten Bradley, she was all-district honorable mention, all Northwest District honorable mention, and I believe a first or second teamer in the conference. I think she deserved it. And I think Monetta Hillary, which is a freshman, that was was overlooked because she had some older girls or some studs playing above her. So I think she deserved an opportunity to play in this game as well.
And more often than not in all-star games, you'll have the veteran game where you'll see either seniors or juniors and seniors, and then you'll have some freshmen and sophomores going head-to-head. What's your thoughts on the dynamic, Brian, of the younger girls getting a chance to clash with the older girls in this all-star event?
Oh, I love it. It's just a tremendous opportunity for them to get out there and play with some of the seniors. The big difference, we talk a lot in our practices and stuff about when you get to the high school level, competing against 4 classes instead of just your 8th grade class or whatever. And I don't think you realize that sometimes how much you mature over the years, and you got some great seniors playing in this game, and it's good for the younger kids to interact with them.
And how cool, too, Jevar, that basically all these girls are from Richland County. So we're talking about kids that have been growing up either playing with one another or against each other since they were young, getting to go head-to-head in an all-star game.
I think it's an amazing opportunity for these young ladies. I think sometimes when you do all seniors, you miss out on some of those young gems that can possibly play with those older girls.
So initially our thought was to have all participants from Richland County schools, but due to spring sports and some other different variety of reasons, it's mostly Richland County schools plus a few on the outskirts. So here are the teams that are going to be involved. We've got girls participating from Madison, Mansfield Senior, Mansfield Christian, Mansfield St. Peter's, Crestline, Lucas, Plymouth, Ontario, Lexington, Shelby, Ashland, and Galleon. And before we meet the competitors, let's go ahead and find out who's going to get our first pick. We've got this fancy roulette wheel here. Let's spin it. If it lands on red, Brian gets to pick first. If it lands on black, Jevar goes first, and it is red. So Brian Davis, your team gets the first pick of the night. Let's go ahead and meet the All-Star Game competitors.
All right.
All right, Brian, so there is the selection pool. Some names, of course, really going to stick out to you. You know quite a few of them pretty intimately. Maybe some others not so sure about, but I can guarantee you all studs in their own right when they step onto the hardwood. Each of you are going to get 60 seconds when it is your turn to select. Let's go ahead and put Brian Davis on the clock.
Well, Jevar and I, we were already arguing about this a little bit. He said if he got the first pick, he was going to take her from me, so I don't need much time. I'm going to go ahead and go with Madison's senior, Chesney Davis.
Probably a wise pick and probably a good pick, smart one in your household, I would think, Brian. Fill us in a little bit more on about Chesney, her career, and what she brings to the table.
Chesney's had a great career. Really looking at what this year's brought. She's had back-to-back first-team all-conference, all-district, first-team all-Northwest region. So she's up for some All-Ohio honors that should be coming out. But just an all-around great player, always brings a smile to the table. Just overall, just a pleasure to coach. I mean, she's my daughter, but never had one issue. She knows better to talk back to me. But just overall, just all-around, really great kid and great ball player.
Hopefully I can teach my daughter that same skill set one day as well.
We can talk.
I appreciate that, Brian. All right, Jevar, you know a thing or two about going against Chesney. You also got some girls on the board. Let's put 60 seconds on the clock for Jevar. We'll see if he goes with one of his own with the first pick.
Well, actually, I'm going to go against the grain, and I'm going to get Shelby's leader, Olivia Baker. Great player. Like, she's a great player. I played her twice this season. She gave me fits both times. Really good player. And with some of the rules of the All-Star game, I think she will be a beneficial player for me in some of the extra parts of the game.
That's right. We are going to liven it up a bit. Probably going to have a 4-point shot, a 5-point shot even late in the game if someone really needs to make up some ground. So Olivia Baker, I would say definitely not going against the grain here, Var. That's a heck of a player, always working on her craft. Stud junior from Shelby, the first pick for the Queens of Clubs. So those are the top two picks. I guess we'll move on to round number 2, if you will. Back over to the Queen of Hearts. 60 seconds up on the board, and let me know, Brian, who you eyeballing? Who's going to be your next pick?
Well, before Jevar grabs her, now if I didn't make this pick, this is another one I'd really be hurting with because Carrie Eckenweiler and Chesney, they'll be two of the only girls at Madison to get 12 varsity letters. They've done everything together, and if I'd let Jevar take her from me at some point, I don't know what I'd have to struggle with that, Brian. So we're going to go ahead and pick Carrie, and so she can play that one last time with Chesney.
And I think Carrie might have been a little bit upset with Coach, too, if you didn't go ahead and grab your own players off the board.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
We all know Carrie, as you mentioned, ton of accolades throughout her athletic career. Just one of the most gifted, in general, athletes that are going to be participating on Thursday night. Super fast. I know she's a track kid. She can really get after it. Tons of speed. State champion on the soccer field and pretty dynamic playmaker in basketball as well, as you can see right here. All right, Jevar, you're going to be back up again. Who are you thinking about with your next pick?
I'm going to come home. I'm going to go home with this one. I'm going to go with Kirsten Bradley. A great scorer. Once again, I'm being strategic with my approach. I'm getting them girls that can score the ball from deep.
That's exactly what you have right now. You got 2 deep threats. Both of them can light it up from 3, and then also when they get hot and they start making their 3-point shots, they have the ability to drive. So your top 2 picks, definitely they can fill it up from the land of 3, but if they need to, they can take you off the bounce. And just a freshman, and I understand that she just recently participated in an All-Star game, did pretty well, didn't she?
She actually did. I actually coached against both of my players, my first and second pick, and they weren't hitting that game, which I was happy that they were not hitting because they took some good looks that typically fall. It just wasn't falling. But I think this All-Star game, they're going to make up for the last All-Star game and pick it up on the Queen of Clubs team.
They've been saving them just for Coach
Saving them
Jevar
just for
over
me.
here.
Yes, sir.
All right, round 3, here we go. Queens of Hearts are on the board, and you know it starts getting a little bit more challenging as some of the top players come off the board, Brian. So you'll have to, you know, maybe use more of this 60 seconds as you think about it.
There's so much talent out here, and what I look at talking about this, kind of like Jevar was saying, looking at the girls that I've had to coach against and how to prepare for their strengths and how we're going to work them. And one girl we didn't get to play this year, but I had enough of her in 3 years, Ontario's Kaylee Freeson.
Great pick.
I think just a great all-around player, looking at what she's done this year. And I'd love to get to coach her once instead of always having to prepare to play against her.
Yeah, and we were talking a little bit off camera, and you asked me who would be my number 1 pick. I said it would probably be Kaylee just because she's so dynamic in the many different ways that she can beat you offensively and then also gets after it on the defensive end. So Kaylee Freeson joining the Queen of Hearts. You're going to have to coach against her, VAR, as you're looking at the highlights now. I mean, this is another one of them threats from pretty much everywhere.
It's going to be a tough one.
Enough said right there. All right, we'll go ahead and go back over to the Queen of Clubs for round 3.
With the Queen of Clubs, I'm going to go over to St. Peter's. I'm going to get a dynamic guard in Kaya Wentz.
Okay. Girl you're pretty familiar with.
Girl I'm pretty familiar with. She can handle it. She can drive. She can shoot it. She had 66 steals this season defensively. So hopefully she can help lead the Queen of Clubs to a victory.
And obviously you see that she's not wearing the blue for St. Peter's. Got to suit up for you this year, Jevar. And a hard worker. I got to deliver an award to her just a few days ago. And no, I wasn't surprised at all to see that she was playing in her driveway. She was getting up some shots when I showed up. So this is a girl that I imagine is always working on her craft.
Yeah, she takes the game. She's taking the game pretty serious these last few years. It was a pleasure having her over. This year she really did some major things for us. She was a major catalyst in our success this season.
All right, let's go back over to the Queen of Hearts. Brian Davis, you're on the clock.
Well, I've got to find a point guard, and it looks like I don't have to look much further than Shelby, Sophia Nice. Didn't get a chance to play them this year amongst all the other teams that we were quarantined, but Sophia, a great guard. Love watching her play. Very well coached, great player. Didn't, like I said, get the opportunity to play him this year, but we will next year as part of all these young kids Coach Lance has coming up.
Yeah, and you see the highlights here. Jevar knows a thing or two about getting burned by number 4 here, Sophia Nice.
Yes.
I mean, this could be another tough one to defend, VAR.
Oh,
He's speapless.
I'm
He's watching back the
very
clips.
speechless because it seems that we're on the same page with our picks. With these first 8 to 10 picks are like they're tough. So as you see girls disappear off the screen, get scratched off the screen, it's getting pretty tough on the selections.
Well, you're up next, so it's going to get even tougher, VAR. What are you thinking?
I think I want to go. Let's see. I got 50 seconds. Let me look at the screen.
Yeah, take your time. Digest for a minute.
Please let me look.
Still a lot of quality players out there. I believe
It
a couple of these named all Ohioans today, if I'm not mistaken. So the cupboard is not bare.
I think I want to go with
30 seconds. All right, Brina Plank coming off the board from Ashland, and a team that you're familiar with. Get to play him a couple of times during the regular season. What'd you see that Brina brings to the table that you want on your squad?
Well, she was one of the main players on that team, and she held them. She did a lot against us as far as we tried to pressure them a lot, and she was one of the main girls who handled the pressure. She gave us fits defensively. I mean, she just played really good basketball against us. Of course, we won the game, but she kept her team alive. and in position to compete. She did well competing with us, against us.
So I see a trend forming here for Coach Hudens, either players that played for him this season or players that he went directly against. So kids that he's seen with his very own eyes. All right, let's go back over to the Queen of Hearts. 60 seconds on the clock, round number 5. What you thinking about, Coach Davis?
Well, I'm going to go. You had mentioned a couple girls that had some All-Ohio today, and a young lady that I watched in our youth leagues over from Lucas. Watched her grow up, and I believe Shelby Grover got some All-Ohio accolades today. So I'd like to go ahead and get her our next pick.
All right, so the sophomore Shelby Grover coming off the board led the Lucas Cubs in scoring this season. And as mentioned, just a sophomore, coach's kid, so she brings a lot to the floor in terms of how she views the game. I think a pretty solid selection here, Coach.
Yeah, I don't think we can go wrong there. We watched her, and Coach Grover, known her for many years, helps out. We work a lot of the stuff in the winter together, and just excited to coach her kid here.
And she was kind of a late addition to the game as well. She found out that big sister Jamie was playing, and she was like, well, anything big sis can do, I should be able to do as well. So we're happy to have Shelby in the mix playing for the Queens of Hearts. All right, throw 60 seconds back up on that board as we're back over the Queens of Clubs.
This next pick, I'm going to go across town to the Ram land, and I'm going to take Faith Kuhn off the screen. Post player, great rebounder, got a great touch around the basket. She made us pay, actually, when we played them the second. I didn't coach against her, but I watched it live, and I watched it again on film, and I watched it again on live, and I watched it again on film, and she was a major contributor to the win when they beat us at home.
And perhaps a bit of a gut shot here to Coach Davis taking one of his.
Had to do it, had to get a post, had to get some post presence.
Yeah, but super guard oriented so far with most of the early picks, so you're right. Taking one of the girls that can play in the lane. Good pick there, Faith Kuhn coming off the board. All right, let's move on to round number 6 now. Back over to the Queens of Hearts, and still plenty of talent up for grabs. Let's put 60 seconds on that clock.
Coach, you went ahead, you took Kaya off there. We got to get her crossed off. I was getting ready to come back at you there. Let's see here. Let's go the other All-Ohio from Mansfield Christian today. Elle Schmitz, I saw her in the paper. Always excited to get these girls an opportunity that we don't get to see often. So let's go ahead and pick Elle Schmitz.
Super dynamic player, great speed, always hustling. What I love watching Elle Schmitz most is that motor, just constantly getting after it offensively, defensively. Solid pick right here, and you know that you're going to get 110% from Elle each and every time. She's got a great fan base too, so I imagine she's going to be snatching up quite a few of those tickets for the Queens of Hearts, so it might be a little bit louder in the cheering section for the girls in red. All right, let's go over to the Queens of Clubs now. Var, you're on the clock. Player number 6 for your squad.
Okay, since Elle Schmitz is off, I think I'm going to go back to Mansfield Senior and take Monetta Hillary off the board. Point guard, great skill set. Coached her since 2nd grade. I think she's probably going to look at this like, you really left me on the board this long? But, I'm just happy she's able to participate in this game. She ended up with a OCC honorable mention. That was it this year that she got as far as her honors, but she was another kid on our team with 63 steals. Actually was one of our better rebounders, whether you believe it or not. She just really can play the game, really good IQ. Think she'll help our team. She'll help the Queen of Clubs win a game this All-Star game.
Ooh, already projecting the victory is Coach Hudens. I love it. And what I love about Hillary is she's got some razzle-dazzle to her game, so she will certainly bring some flavor to the All-Star event, and I imagine she'll be participating in the Skills Challenge as well. So look for the Dynamite freshman to do some things on Thursday night. All right, round 7, back over to the Queen of Hearts. Let's get 60 seconds up on that board.
Well, I got to go right back at Coach here. We're going to go Julia Rizzo. And the reason for this, one of the reasons, other than being a really good, talented ball player, Coach was talking about what Faith did to him over at senior high. We had a similar instance over at Madison. I hope that one doesn't come up on the screen because I don't want to remember it. And I still don't know how in 0.7 seconds that a ball can be rebounded and put back in. But unfortunately it happened, and I'm not going to let Ms. Rizzo do that to us again. So we're going to take her as part of our victory lap this week, and hopefully maybe we can turn the corner here on with her.
And something that I'm kind of noticing that's happening, you know, maybe organically as I look over at the left side, a lot of young players on the Queen of Clubs, whereas it's almost all seniors now for the Queen of Hearts. Sophia Neese and Shelby Grover, the only two underclassmen. So veteran bunch over here for Coach Brian. I think he knows what he's doing a little bit. Whoa. We'll see if maybe VAR is getting some kids that, you know, got some more flavor and talent with them.
Well, this next one, I'm going still a Lexington kid. And we misspelled her name. Jessica told me that her name was misspelled. It's N-A-D-I, not D-I-E.
Okay.
So I told her I would fix that. Never got around to it, I guess. Just all right. Love you, Jessica. Hey, but I'll take Maddie Bassalone off the screen. I put her on the Queen of Clubs, young girl. She actually played hard. We tried to pressure her when we played them. She didn't let it phase her. She didn't let it phase her at all. She ended up getting hurt, which it kind of hurt Lexington because she was their primary ball handler at the time. But great shooter, great spot up shooter, and she handles the ball well. And she just plays hard. So I like Maddie Bassalone.
All right, so another OCC player comes off the board, and Maddie Bassalone, and we'll get your name spelled right for the actual event, Maddie. We got your back on that one. So we'll take Maddie off of the list as the pool continues to shrink down. I think we're, a little over halfway through here tonight's draft selection, and we're back over to the Queens of Hearts. Brian, take it away.
Well, we're going to go right back with another OCC girl, Kaylee Freeson. To add to some of our height that we have over here. Kaylee is a senior at Ashland. We faced her 3 years. Obviously, we didn't get to this year, unfortunately. Kaylee's just really good around the basket. She can step out, knock it down. Excited to get the opportunity to coach her. They did a real good job. Ashland came a long way this year, and it was fun to watch them play. And I think it'll be great to coach Kaylee this season.
And I seen Jevar, that pick kind of took you off guard or something. Were you saving your next pick for her?
Yes, absolutely. He's been taking all my next picks. He's taking them. This one I'm gonna go with a Spartan. I'm gonna go with a Spartan, another Spartan. I'm gonna get a Monty Mitchell. Post player inside, really good moves, really good post moves. Blocks lots of shots. Just more post presence when you know those outside shots aren't falling. We can dump it down inside to Faith Kuhn or Monty Mitchell. See how that works for us.
Yeah, two kids with great footwork down in the low post, so that's going to be a nice 1-2 punch. It'll be interesting to see how you use those two girls in tandem or if they kind of spell each other out on Thursday night.
And one thing about Amani Mitchell that I didn't mention is she has a really good mid-range jump shot that she doesn't use. So hopefully we can get her to use that this week in this game and show that that she has other elements of her game that she just doesn't tap into.
All right, I think we're down to about like our last 8 selections or so, Coach. You've got the next one. Who you eyeballing?
Well, I was eyeballing Amani there until Coach took her. I was telling Coach earlier, me and her mother graduated from senior high together, Tina, which is also very athletic. So I was going to get a chance to coach her there until Coach took her. Let's go right back, Jamie Grover. Let's let the sisters play together one last time.
I think they'll appreciate that. I think they'll like that a lot, and I think they complement each other pretty well. We had an opportunity to do quite a few Lucas games this year. Jamie, definitely, she was the leader vocally, emotionally. Shelby was kind of more of just, the gifted young girl running around. So I think having those two on the same team, probably a good pick, Coach. Pretty good pick there. All right, so we'll cross Jamie off the board. And we'll move back over to the Queens of Clubs. You're on the clock.
I'll take Kaylee Freeson.
Bing, bing, bing.
Oh,
too bad.
She's not scratched off. Oh, my fault. Hey, no, but I'll probably, I think I'll go with, just go out on a limb, and I'll take Natalie Perkins. She's from Galleon. Coach Rush, I asked for Coach Rush. I said, give me two of your better players, and she sent, two of the players. I haven't seen them, but I'll go online and say they'll be pretty good players. So Natalie Perkins can join the Queen of Clubs, and let's look see if we can pull off a victory.
So a TI Tiger joining the coach of the TY Tigers. It just might mesh, Coach. All right, so Natalie Perkins comes off the board, and we'll move back over to the Queens of Hearts. Only a few selections remain. Who's going to be your next pick, Coach Brian?
We're going to go with Lizzie Hamler from Lexington, long athletic guard forward. She can knock down the jumper. She's going to spread it out for us as we put it to the Queen of Clubs on Thursday night. But excited, Lexington obviously got the opportunity to play them twice this year, and Lizzie's a very talented young lady that can stretch it out and knock down the jumper.
And again, there's that familiarity factor playing in the same league.
Yeah.
So Lizzie Hamler joining a group of girls that she might be familiar with, at least a few of them. All right, let's move back over to the Queens of Clubs here, and Jevar Hudens.
I think I'm going to roll with Alexis Ripple. She's from Mansfield Christian, and she was a part of a great, successful team. So I'm pretty sure she helped Elle facilitate and help the process of them turning around that season over there in the basketball culture at Mansfield Christian. So I think Alexis Ripple will be a perfect fit for the Queen of Clubs team.
Yeah, love that. She was definitely one of the straws that was mixing the drink there for the Lady Flames this year that enjoyed, I think, maybe their best season in program history. At least they had one of the best stretches that program has ever had. Her and Elle, of course, were a big part of that, and so they get a chance to go head-to-head this time. So I always love that when teammates get to go at each other.
So Natalie and Jamie are both scratched off.
Yes.
So we're at Lexi Rush, Hannah DeLong, Deja Sewell, and Aaron Stevens.
Well, it's my pick, Coach.
So let's get 60 seconds on the clock.
Absolutely.
I mean, don't come across here. I think what he was wanting to go after, I believe, Crestline's Hannah DeLong. I did see, I was looking at, I believe the MBC, is that their conference, Mid-Buckeye?
Correct.
I believe she was the first team all-conference selection for the MBC, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't get to watch him play previous year. I believe that I had seen him a couple times. Let's go Hannah DeLong.
Hannah, one of my former students. I taught for a year over at Crestline. She was always a bright, talented kid. She's got pretty good handles, can knock down the three when open, and another senior coach, so you're adding to your veteran group. Bunch of 12th graders over there on the Queens of Hearts. Back over to Jevar Hudens, and just a couple of names left on the board.
Well, we might as well stick to the script and go young and take Lexi Rush off the screen. Put her over here with these youngins.
Okay.
And let us go against the older.
And Lexi, just a freshman, correct?
Yep.
Wow.
And I love freshmen over here. I love freshmen.
You do. You learned how to coach those 9th graders this season, so it just fits into your mold well there, Coach. So, kind of the old hats versus the new money here. I love it. All right, we're down to just 2 players left. We've got Deja Sewell from Crestline and then Aaron Stevens.
Okay, well, we've got a Crestline, Hannah from Crestline. Let's go over to Plymouth, Aaron Stevens. Actually watched some video on Aaron. Looks like she can definitely knock down the jumper, and she can attack the basket. Some of the clips I was looking at on Huddle, she does a real good job of getting to the basket, and she can also spot up and knock it down, as you're seeing on the clips there. So kind of excited she can help out, and as we knock down 20 or 30 threes in the game Thursday night.
33.
So Erin Stevens of the Big Red staying in a red uniform as she will join the Queens of Hearts. And that means that Deja Sewell is going to be a member of the Queens of Clubs. And Deja, guess what? For being the final pick in tonight's draft, I've got a gift card for you from Buffalo Wild Wings. 25 smackaroos right here. Maybe you can take out one of your teammates after the victory, or maybe the defeat. We'll find out on Thursday night. And go enjoy your time at Buffalo Wild Wings for being the last pick here tonight. So, gentlemen, go ahead, take a look at both of your rosters and just break it down for me. What are you seeing? We'll start over here with Coach Davis. What really stands out to you about your full collection of talent?
I think you hit it, Brian, with the leadership and the seniors, some of the older kids on this group. Well, I see inside out, I see scorers, I see ball handlers, playmakers, girls around the basket. I just don't know how Coach is going to match up with it.
Coach, what is going to be the game plan with all these youngsters?
Shoot it, shoot it, shoot it. It's going to be a great game, and I think with the youth going against the veteran lineup, I think it's going to make it an even more fun, competitive game. When you throw the young girls, you can't let the older girls go out with a win. You know what I mean? It's so many different dynamics that you can throw in to make it a more competitive game.
Yeah, I definitely like that aspect of it. And you guys both, you're going to get the opportunity to coach the girls just for one night and one night only, that being tomorrow. What type of challenges does that present when you only get a few hours to work with your squad?
Pretty similar to our season, actually. We had
You're used to it.
Unfortunately, I mean, we're just used to it. These girls are ballers.
Right.
They're ball players. Every girl on both teams, just excited to be part of it and watch them. They're going to come out ready to play. I mean, they're going to come out and get after it. Probably as much as I know these girls are probably going to be still diving around on the floor and some of the things that these girls are known for, and they're going to be rebounding, they're going to be running the floor.
This group, like in the piggyback off Brian, these girls here, all the girls on this list, they play the game. They really take the game serious. They really like basketball. And I know several of them are playing AAU basketballs. I know a lot of the young ones. I've seen a lot of the young ones on the road actually that's playing AAU, so they're still playing. And I think they'll go hard. I think they'll want to win. I think both teams will play to want to win the game.
It's definitely going to be an exciting night on Thursday. It all begins with the skills competition that real quickly, Coach Hudens, we're going to put this thing together kind of on the fly tomorrow, but I know that you got some great ideas. What can the people that are watching expect to see from that?
Well, with the skills challenge, I put together almost every facet of basketball in it. A closeout, some defensive sliding, some dribbling, some passing, a mid-range jump shot, and a layup. It's going to be two-person teams, so we'll do probably three or four teams from each team. So we have about 8 competitors. 8 teams, so 16 girls can compete in the challenge, and then the rest of the girls will do a 3-point challenge. So each girl will get a chance to compete in one of the extra added events.
And again, it all goes down Thursday night. Doors are going to open, I believe, right around 5 o'clock. Festivities going to kick off about 6. The All-Star game goes down at 7:30, and you can all watch it right here on the OH Report, live and free. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me here tonight for the first ever, what we hope becomes an inaugural event, the Queens of the Hardwood. Girls basketball doesn't get quite the love and support that it deserves, so we're going to try to bring some flavor and some more of these all-stars to the courts for years to come, but it all begins this year at Mansfield Senior High on Thursday night. But for this first ever draft, that's going to do it. For Jevar and Brian, I'm Brian as well. We'll see you guys all Thursday night over at Senior High. Till then.